Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in Mississippi as well as our online audience tuning in. Thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We always are trying to encourage you, to remind you of what's possible when it comes to working hard and dedicating yourself to a goal and dream. Our next guest definitely knows that really well. We're excited to welcome Will Roundtree to our program today. We're going to talk to Will not only about his own journey as an entrepreneur and credit specialist, but what it's been like for him through his platform and his books to be able to remind people of what it takes to be successful, as well as give them the keys they need to be able to do so. If you guys are not following Will, of course, we'll let you know where to find him, as well as his books as well. Will, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you guys, and looking forward to it. Appreciate it.
So, Will, I thought the interesting thing about your particular journey is that, you are a great example about it's not about where you start, it's where you choose to go. And you made a choice for yourself. What has it been like for you to see the way that choice has paid off for you, Will, not only in what you've been able to do professionally, but also in what you've been able to show other people is possible?
Oh, yeah, no, thank you for asking that. So one of the many things I've learned a long time ago is that the decisions you made 3 to 5 years ago are a direct reflection of where you are today. And so I've always just tried to pride myself on always making sound decisions. Now, they don't always go the way I want them to go, or the outcome or result doesn't always come to fruition. But I'm always looking at, okay, whatever I decide today, will it make sense in the next 3 to 5 years? I've been on this journey for about 17 years, and coming from the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I never could have even fathomed being where I'm at, and having the opportunity to being blessed and, not only just from a financial standpoint, but to be able to see the world, being able to travel. My thing is to always be able to give back in the form of inspiration, because that's one of the things that I feel that a lot of people lack. A lot of people work hard. A lot of people have goals. A lot of people have dreams, aspirations, but the one thing we lack, because of the amount of negativity we deal with on a day-to-day, is inspiration. And so that's my way of giving back, not just from a motivational standpoint, but actually giving people solutions on how to get to that next step in their life, and just using my story as a testament of, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Not to sound so cliche, but, I've probably witnessed and incurred some of the things that most of us from, inner cities of America have witnessed. And so my goal has always been to inspire first.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to something I noticed in one interview you had done when you were kind of talking about your surroundings growing up. You understood the importance and the power of making decisions, right? You knew that there were different ways that you could go, and you chose a certain path for yourself. Do you think that is one of the things also that has separated you, that you understand the importance of making a choice, but also what it takes to bring that choice into fruition?
Absolutely. One of the things I've prided myself on is I observe everything. I observe my surroundings, I observe the people around me, and I utilize those things that I've observed to learn from. So seeing the decisions that people made, or the lack of decisions that they didn't make, and then seeing the end result of that. It often reminds me of, there has been times when I've had family members or friends who, 3 to 5 years after they've, attempted to plant a seed, and now they're having that talk of that shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I've never wanted to be in that position. And so I've always wanted to tell myself, look, I'm going to make a decision, or at least a conscious decision, to do X, Y, and Z. And whatever that outcome is, at least I can say I put in the effort. And it reminds me of even when I made my first large investment to go into entrepreneurship, and I purchased a franchise. Well, needless to say, it went horribly wrong. But the fact that I made the decision to even make an attempt to go after something that most would probably be scared of because of the lack of quote-unquote security when investing in something in the means of a business. But the thing is, I learned everything that I needed to know of what not to do, which has helped to propel me where I'm at. So decisions have a huge impact on the end result of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And me watching others and the good decisions they've made and seeing the benefits of it and the decisions that they didn't make, as well as the bad decisions, and seeing the end result of that as well.
And the other thing I think that so many people respect about you, Will, is that you don't just learn this for yourself. You learn it and then you share it. You mentioned, of course, making an investment, your first book being Credit is King, transforming your credit to royalty, but also your second book, Full-Time CEO. I want to talk to you about that because I think a lot of times people hear entrepreneur, they hear CEO. It all sounds very, very exciting. A lot of times people have this idea in their mind as to, what that, the glamorous side of it. They don't realize, even as you kind of allude to in the subtitle, the things that people don't always think about. Has that also been important for you, as you mentioned earlier, to show your success and recognize that, but also to let people know that this is not easy, that this takes work and it takes dedication?
Oh, absolutely. See, I've learned being on this journey of entrepreneurship that the sizzle has always been the lifestyle. Hey, you can have financial freedom. You can make millions of dollars. You can travel the world, buy all these fancy vehicles and all of these things. But the thing that I'm noticing, even especially since social media has been introduced, we don't ever see the losses. We don't see the sleepless nights. We don't see the training outside of the ring. There's a famous quote that champions aren't made in the ring, they're made outside the ring. And so when I wrote that book, I wanted to write it from the perspective of, hey, this is a long journey. It may take you 5 years before you make your first profit. You may lose friends. You may lose a relationship. You could fail multiple times. But there's all lessons in every single last one of those experiences. And then also talking about the things that people don't talk about when it comes to going into entrepreneurship, budgeting, competition, pricing, personal development, which I'd say is probably the biggest thing that most people don't focus on, is changing their mindset. How do you deal with obstacles? How do you deal with challenges? Have you worked on your emotional intelligence? Do you handle things emotionally? So I wanted to talk about the things that are not glamorized and not just talk about the fruits of the labor that come along with it, because a lot of times we just see the end result of the hard work that people put in, not knowing that they could have been working 10 years prior to us seeing them, publicly, and thinking that was overnight for them. So I want to give people the real, the raw, the gritty, and let them know that this is a very lonely journey, or it can be a lonely journey. You're no longer trading time for dollars. And so it was extremely important for me to write it, and then sharing my own testament within that book and sharing my experiences of what I went through to, just kind of add that story element so that the book didn't bore the reader.
Yeah. How has your idea of success changed, Will, throughout this process? I mean, because as you have grown, as you have expanded and done the different types of things you've done, how has your idea of what success is for you changed?
Oh, wow. In the beginning, success was just about being able to make some money, get my own place to live, and purchase a few vehicles and pay my bills on time. But as I've evolved and elevated, my level of success has now become more about legacy. It's more, what kind of imprint and impact can I leave? I remember speaking to a group of individuals, and I made mention that, the Rockefellers know who their great-great-grandparents are. The Hiltons, the Marriotts, the Hunts family, they know who their third, fourth generation grandparents are. I want to be able to leave that mark so that my great-great-grandchildren know who Will Roundtree is. So when we're talking about success, it's no longer monetary. It's more about creating that legacy, creating opportunities for, my immediate and extended family, inspiring others and showing them that they can do it and helping them create success for their family and changing their family legacy and different things of that nature. And so how I view success is completely different than when I first started this journey over 17 years ago.
Well, I think that's another thing that people can respect. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're excited to welcome Will Roundtree to our program. We're talking with him not only about his journey of entrepreneurship, but also what it's been like for him as a credit specialist and author to be able to not only to educate but also inspire others as well. Has it been easy for you at this point? Because, I mean, your journey was a personal one, Will. Has it been easy for you to look at yourself as a role model?
You know, it's interesting you say that because, you know, when people peg me with these taglines like motivational speaker, the credit king, and different things like that, it's still difficult for me to accept those roles, primarily because, you know, I don't know what the barometer is to say that I'm the best or that I'm the expert, because I'm still constantly learning every day. I'm learning from, you know, my experiences. I'm learning from others. But I will say that it's definitely been flattering that people have reached out to me and said that I've inspired them. You know, I've had single mothers say that I've inspired their young son to want to change their path in life and kind of made this space, quote unquote, cool for people to want to educate themselves on credit, to become more financial literate. And so I tell myself every morning that I'm accepting of that role. Unfortunately, sometimes, you know, we kind of walk into things, and as I often share, that I do believe that, you know, I've been kind of picked and just thrusted into this light, and my voice is being used to be that role model for others and let them know, hey, you can have success, and it's not just about, you know, sports and entertainment, and not that it's anything wrong with that, because I work with people in those spaces, but that also entrepreneurship can be cool. You can make money in entrepreneurship. You can change your life. You can impact others. And so I definitely accept that role with 1,000% responsibility. But I will say that sometimes it still is a bit kind of new to kind of be that I hate to use the word chosen one, but the one that people do kind of peg with those titles.
Gotcha. And so with all that you have achieved and all the recognition you've gotten, do you still find yourself driven by the what's next?
Absolutely, every single day. I remember hearing an interview with Puffy once, and he mentioned that people would always ask him, when is he going to slow down? And they were like, Puff, you've made tens of millions. When are you going to slow down? And he was like, well, my next goal is the billions. And so I could understand that, because it's not always about the money, but it's about moving your goalpost of accomplishing new goals. Because when you have a burning desire, when you're just driven, when you have a level of ambition that it's almost impossible to turn off, your satisfaction comes out of hitting new climaxes of goals that you've set for yourself. And my goals are not always financial. I mean, my goals can be physical, whether it's, you know, me staying in shape and hitting certain, you know, peaks as far as, you know, how I want to be from a health standpoint, setting goals as far as the number of people I want to see become homeowners, the number of people I want to see start new businesses, successful, thriving businesses, helping those around me. And as I often say, the money is just a byproduct. And yes, I have definitely moved my goalpost as far as, you know, what I wanted to accomplish financially, but being able to have those things financially is a benefit for me, being able to create more opportunities for others, whether it's me being able to travel the country and do free workshops across the country, me being able to volunteer my time at local schools, me being able to donate financially to various causes, to, you know, various organizations. And so, again, the money is just a byproduct. But, yeah, I do have a drive that I literally probably dream about the stuff that I'm thinking about accomplishing. Like, that's how strong my drive is. But it is very important to me.
Got you. Well, I think that says a whole lot, and it reminds our audience. One thing we did not talk about here, Will, so I want to mention that in the last segment here, is about credit, because as you said, you do get tagged with a lot of things. Credit is a big part of what you have been kind of, recognized for. You've written a book, of course, about credit being king. Have you found that in the world that we're living in today, where so much has shifted in the way that people are able to make a living, able to provide for themselves, have you found that credit still has the importance as when you first wrote the book?
By far. I think it's even more prevalent, but I think people are starting to be more open into understanding why credit is so important. Mm-hmm. I often say credit is almost like your digital fingerprint. Everything is connected to that, from employment to your insurance rates to being able to purchase a home. I remember speaking with a client who she couldn't rent an instrument for her daughter for school because her credit was not in position. So imagine going through life not understanding one of the few things that dictates everything about your life. It's just unfortunate that we haven't been educated on the importance of it, so you almost become numb to the trauma of being ruined financially, as I like to call it, or going through the challenges. When you have bad credit, life is expensive. You have to put down 2 to 3 times the deposit on an apartment in a neighborhood that you may or may not want to stay in. You're paying 15 to 20% interest on an automobile that may not even last 3 to 5 years. You may not be able to get that dream job of yours. I did a workshop for some college students who were just recently graduating from law school. And even though they may pass the bar, you can't practice law if your credit is ruined. So credit affects so many different aspects of our life, but we've become so desensitized because we've operated most of our lives like that, or we've seen our parents operate. So then we've created these narratives like, oh, credit is bad, credit cards are the devil, and all of these things. But it's because we haven't seen enough examples. And what I've been able to do is start showing people, hey, this is how the wealthy have been operating, by leveraging credit. We just don't understand how structured debt works. We just don't understand the power of leveraging credit. And so my goal is really to be able to educate people, showing them real life examples, as well as educating them not only on the power of it, but how to use it, the myths of credit, and getting us to change our mindset of how we think about credit and how it can be a tool for our lives, and not just from a consumer standpoint to go out and shop and buy clothes and take trips and all of these things that they condition us to think that credit is used for.
Wow. What a great point. And I think it's something for us to think about. And it goes to, I think, a big thing, again, kind of going full circle in this conversation with you, Will. I mentioned earlier about it all began for you with making decisions. Also, I think we could tie that into mindset, right? Being able to change our mindset that where we are is not where we have to stay, and change the way that we look at things. And I think that's the powerful thing that you've been able to do. Again, everyone, Will Roundtree has been our guest, talking with us not only about his entrepreneurial journey, but also what it's been like for him to find success, but also show other people how they can be able to have their own success as well. Will, how can our audience stay connected with you and keep up with what's going on next for you this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, they can find me across all social media platforms at Mr. Will Roundtree. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. I put a ton of content and free information on my YouTube channel, so please make sure people can go subscribe to that. Also, my 2 books are on Amazon.com. I also have audio versions on Audible.com where they can go and purchase the audio version. And then I have a ton of content and courses and just a bunch of information on all of my social media platforms. So please, make sure to tap in, subscribe, like, comment, share, or even if you just want to come by and say hello, I do respond back to as many of the messages as I can.
All right. Well, man, congratulations to you again. Thank you so much for taking out this time to be with us today, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Definitely. Anytime. And thank you guys for all of the support. Thank you.
Okay, glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.